Hi everyone, I've been asked to do a eye tutorial on how I get my eyes looking a bit more realistic. I've done one before, but my methods changed a little bit, so I'm going to do a new one. This picture is from Hannah Lynn. It's from her Maui Mermaids book. I'm colouring from the Best of book though because the paper is amazing. So we've chosen green. I've got all my stuff here that we're going to colour with. We're going to start with black. What I do is I usually fill in the pupil. I used to fill it in with like a felt tip pen or felt tip marker, but what I found is later on when we're going to go over with the white Posca pen, it was ruining the paper and it was sort of going through it. And we don't want that. And I was finding it hard to get like a clear white mark with the Posca. So I found doing pencil works a lot better. Other thing I saw on a tutorial was instead of using black, was using indigo blue and like a brown over the top of each other because it makes the colour more realistic. But I haven't yet tried that. But I want to. Just my indigo went missing for a little bit, so I haven't had the chance to figure that out. Alright, so now we've got the pupils sort of coloured in. What I like to do is I like to use an alcohol marker. I just use Touch 5s. They're also known as a few other bits and other names as well. They're really cheap. I'm slowly going to get Copics because they're really expensive. But what I like to do is I like to lay down a marker base and then go over with pencil, and that's what I've done with the skin as well. I can show you. So it's sort of gone through the back, and I always use like a piece of paper underneath. But I find that that gives a good coverage, and then it's easier to highlight. You don't have to do this. You can use pencil for the whole thing. It's been my go-to method lately. So I'm using lime green 175 Touch 5 marker, and I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Now it's going to look dark when we first do it. Don't freak out. I've freaked out a few times when I've done this. Once you get the pencils on, it will work itself out. And first couple of times I was always using like lighter markers, but I actually find the darker markers work better because the shadowing that you can get with your pencil actually, and like using the white pencil particular over the top of it, it gives good colour and coverage. So there we go. Both of them coloured in. Like I said, it's going to look dark. That's okay. It may look patchy. That's okay. Because we're going to go over. My skin was patchy. As you can see, it doesn't look patchy anymore. So we're going to go over it with pencil. Another tip, if you're doing eyes, make sure you're doing both of them at the same time. I do one first, then go over to the other, and then the next layer so that they look the same or similar. I know they don't have to be the same, but so they look similar. You want to do one, then go to the other. You don't want to do one, then come back to it half an hour later or an hour later. Often it doesn't look the same. So now what I do is with my white pencil is I just add in through sort of around here. You want to add in like white sort of marks to get sort of that realistic tone with the eye. So you don't want to push too hard. And it's sort of random. It doesn't really look like I'm doing a lot, but it will. And what that does is when you add more pencil in later, it'll be lighter in the areas where you've put the white. You don't have to push too hard. The harder you push, the darker your white's going to show up. So it depends on what sort of, how much you want the white to show up when you're doing the eye. I'm seriously just doing little strokes. Alright, so now I'm gonna I'm using Prismacolor pencils, lime peel, and so I'm gonna start around sort of the outside of the eye. The pencil looks very similar to the colour we've already laid down. That's a good thing because it helps us to blend it through, makes it look less patchy. I'm just colouring sort of around there, but also then bringing some of that colour into the white, using that sort of stroke method that I used before. Doesn't matter if you colour in on the iris, it's black, it's not going to show up anyway. Doesn't look like we're really doing much at the moment, but we are. It's all about building that colour up. And you can build as much colour and for as long as you like. I am a bit of a perfectionist, if anyone knows me. So I'll just keep building up layers until I'm happy. Alright, so the next colour I've got is some artichoke. So what I'm using that for is up here to create a little bit of shadow, sort of where the eyelashes would meet the eye, and around the sides to sort of darken it up a bit. I need to get a stand for recording my videos, but I haven't done. I keep saying I will, and then I don't. So eventually I will, I hope. So then I can have both my hands free because I'm just holding on to the phone while I colour. Alright, so next I've got olive green. Again, I'm just trying to darken things up, create those shadows. I'm sort of colouring in a bit of a more circular pattern at the moment. You can see the difference though already that olive green has made. Oops. I went a little bit too far in than I meant to, but that's okay. It will help make it look a bit more unique. They need to look like each other, but they don't need to be perfect, the same as each other. No one's eyes look perfectly the same. I've now got the chartreuse, just the green. There's two chartreuses. It's just the normal green. Oh my gosh. There we go. And I'm going to start blending that in with the white. Sort of on either side of that white that we put in at the start. As you can see, it's starting to really I tried to choose one with a bigger eye so you can see how I get all the colours in. The smaller eyes, it's a lot more work. My biggest tip is make sure your pencils are sharp when you're doing smaller eye work. Now, next I've got so 90% cool grey. Instead of using black, I use the 90% a lot because I feel it gives a shadow but without it being black, because we don't always have black when we have shadows in in real life. So just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So what I do with this is just that flicking motion again from the iris. I'm just doing it really lightly at the moment just to start building up that layer. Flicking it into that, into the white, and then using it down the bottom of the eye, sort of up the sides here to sort of create a bit more of that shadow from the eyelashes. And again over to this eye. Now we want to go back over with your olive green. Oops, just dropped it. And again, sort of blending that colour through, using some of that flicking motion as well. I apologise if you guys can hear noise as well. It's just my son. He's being happy. So we're getting there. Again, I want to then go back over with your white. And this time, just being a little bit more purposeful where we're putting the white where we want. So there's already like a bit of shadow here. So just sort of sharpening up the lines a little bit more with the white. We don't want it to completely, you know, just be a white line. We want to sort of blend it a little bit, but just so you can start seeing a bit of that white again. It's all just about creating the shadows and the light. And I was talking to someone online recently who said they never use their white pencil because they're really afraid of it. The white pencil is your friend, not your enemy. I've got lime peel again, sorry. I just realised I didn't tell you guys what I've got. Just, again, just... I'm going to go back in with the 90% grey. Just trying to get a little bit more of that shadow going. Okay. More olive green. Just ironing out where I just put more of the 90%. Okay. We can keep going, you can keep creating more shadow, more depth, more layers. I'm just going back over with a bit more of the black in that iris. And then I'm just going to go slightly around. This is with the black. Sort of just touching, just kissing the lines. And then putting a little bit into the eye. Just subtly. Subtly. I can't even say the word properly today. Chartreuse again. Artichoke. Ooh. Okay, I think we're just about good. Like I said, you can keep going and going and going, but here's a close-up of sort of what we've been able to achieve. It looks better in real life, as always. It never shows up good on camera. I'm just giving my Posca pen a shake. I'm using the 0.7mm pin tip. So, Posca. There we go, that size. So there's different ways you can do it. It's up to you what you're sort of after. I usually just do like a small dot. You can also, I want to start trying to do like the more boxier style, so it looks a bit more like that reflection. But what you're trying to do is basically make it look like there's that slight reflection off the eye. So I usually try and work out, well, what way would you be looking? I probably think about it too much, but I just create a small circle, sort of partially on the iris, partially into the green bit. That. And then you don't want to do that side of the eye, you want to do the same side, so both of them on the left or both of them on the right, depending on what you're doing. I have done it the other way before, but it doesn't look right for me. It doesn't look like the shadow's right, if that makes sense. Because this eye is slightly smaller, I'm doing the white part slightly smaller. Now, I'm not happy with how that circle's sitting on this eye. So what I'm going to do, if I can get my lid back on my Posca pen, is I'm just going to grab my black pencil. I'm just going to round the circle. It's just paint, so you can just chip away at it. if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to so there. Now it's a bit more rounded and I'm a lot happier with that. So that's basically how I do my eyes. I probably will fiddle with it a little bit more and the white because that's just what I do. But I really hope that that tutorial is super helpful. If you use it, please tag me, let me know. If you've got any questions, again, just ask away. I'm happy to help. I really hope that some of you guys can use it and it helps you to create some stunning eyes. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.